We arrived at Grosvenor, just north of Waterfall Bluff, and there were big dark patches in the sea, which was a dead giveaway. The other hints were the building clouds of gannets that were flying overhead in ever increasing numbers. Jumping overboard, we were confronted with the Sardine Run itself. Just billions and billions of little fish heading north. The numbers here are kind of hard to comprehend. You drop into them and they just swim past you indefinitely, and actually blocking out the sun. They're so dense. In this huge shoal, the sharks were just barreling through, and the sardines were parting to let them swim. Obviously feeding at will and at their leisure, there must have been thousands of sharks swimming with this big shoal. It's hard to say the numbers, but they were extreme. This is a raggy heading north on its breeding migration, accompanied by all the food it could ever eat. A real convenience. This is a male. They're heading for reefs like Protea and Allowal Shoal to meet up with the females and begin their mating. And so begins the mating season for these ragged-toothed sharks. The sharks work the edge of this big shoal and eventually, I guess, start to fragment it. This is when the dolphins come in. They're far more tactical than the sharks. They'll actually intercept and ball off a group of sardines and work on them as a team. The gannets wait for this to happen, and the dolphins basically trigger the diving frenzy of the gannets. Underwater, you see a smaller bait ball being corralled by the dolphins and the gannets just barreling into it from the sky above. Actually picking off individual fish, and some gannets, if you watch closely, manage to get 2 or 3 fish in one dive. The breakaway ball of sardines getting ever smaller, the dolphins working it hard, and the gannets just raining down from up above. We saw bait balls like this eaten down to the last sardine which was snapped up. The mayhem gets quite intense. The action above the surface, very chaotic. And as the main shoal heads north towards Port Edward, the smaller balls are just followed by an ever-increasing number of dolphins and gannets and executed one by one. You can actually see the gannets above the surface flying and diving before they hit the water. The birds managing to swim a fair distance before actually gulping down a fish. They're highly mobile in the water. They don't just dive, they actually swim in specific directions. Eventually the shoal is pushed right up onto the surface and is just finished off by a whole host of hungry predators.